Hey everyone, welcome to Queerly Recommended, the podcast where we recommend queer books, films, TV shows, and more. I'm Tara Scott, and I review sapphic fiction at the Lesbian Review and Smart Bitches Trashy Books. And this week, I'm recommending a soon-to-be-released sapphic romantasy novel.
And I'm Kris Bryant, a contemporary romance writer for Bold Strokes Books. And this week, I'm recommending a television show.
All right, Kris, what's going on with you?
So I decided that it's going to be a family trip to Vegas.
Woo!
So yeah, I'm selling cards so I can have money for my Vegas trip.
Are you just gambling, or are you going to do anything else while you're there?
Oh, you can only gamble for so long before you either want to claw your eyes out or like cry because you spent all your money. So Vegas on a budget is kind of hard, but I do want to go to some shows. There's some good shows. And also my sister found this. I wish I could tell you what it was. It's like a let me find it. Hold on. Because she sent me all these TikToks about it. And
so she's ready. She's
ready.
So you're gonna make the money.
Yeah, I know.
You're gonna make the money selling the cards, and she's gonna make the itinerary with the shows.
Right. What is it? Oh, head spa. So we're doing a head spa. And it's like they have some sort of a tea like stuff that they put in your hair and they massage it and they I don't know. It's just they're just gonna I love it when people brush my hair, play with my hair. I mean, it's a thing. I love it. And so does my sister. And so we're just like, she sends me all these things. Oh, here's this head spa thing. And they just they massage it and they kind of sort of wash it, but it's more of a massage. And I don't know. It sounds lovely.
If you write it into a book, can you write it off as a research expense?
I probably could, but I'm actually getting very cheap. I'm going there very cheaply. Cheap. So one of my friends has points, and for my birthday, got me a ticket to Vegas. Okay.
Yay.
Right? That was amazing. And then because you get cards when you go to the casinos here. And so you get players cards. And if you have a players card and you have it for X amount of time, then you get free rooms. That's how I was able to go down to New Orleans.
Yes.
And they keep giving you free rooms. So I'm like, okay. So I got the suite in Vegas for 3 days. 3 days? Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah. So for 3 nights, 3 days. I got the suite in MGM or something like that. So that won't cost me anything. And then I have the airfare for free. So basically it's just gambling and eating money.
Oh, that's not bad.
Food, because
and head spa.
Right. And the head spa, because I don't even know how much that's going to cost. But knowing Vegas, knowing my sister, it's probably going to cost quite a bit.
It'll be enough.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm also going to have a garage sale, I think, I was going to have one anyway, but I think that money will go to the Vegas trip as well.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, I'm getting this book done. I had 6 pages of notes, and so I tackled that. I'm almost done with that, and I will turn in my manuscript, and then probably in about a month or 2, we'll do line edits.
Nice. So it's coming along.
Then I'll have the summer off to do fun things, and then I'll buckle down in the fall and pick writing back up. So
nice.
But I need some time. It's funny, the editor in chief kind of reached out and said, "Hey, what are you working on?" And I go, "Myself. I'm working on myself." It has been such a hard 8 months of my life. And I need to take care of myself. So and she was totally cool with it. She goes, "I get it. I understand." So everything's cool within the publishing house. They're okay with me taking some time.
Good.
Because I've been nonstop for 10 years. I need to slow down. I need to
It's
slow
kind of a
down.
lot. Didn't you had some years too where you were doing what, 4 books a year?
I was doing 3 books a year,
while working full time.
Working full time, doing this, doing eBay, all that stuff. Now I have Patreon, and now I'm doing SAS and doing the podcast and working at eBay and doing card shows because, who needs to sleep? Right?
Me?
Yes, me too. So I keep getting involved in these things, and I can't say no. I cannot say no. Everything is for a good cause, and I feel so everybody, speaking of good causes, everybody who's anybody knows about Tiki, right? Are you on the Tiki bandwagon?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my goodness. Tiki story. We're all Tiki lovers, at least down here in the
What are
United
you
States.
talking about? I also love that you said everybody who's anybody. And I'm like, I
Right.
don't know. I don't know what that is.
Anybody
I'm
who's
not anybody.
you can say the word Tiki. You can just like say Tiki, and everybody's like Tiki. So we all have this common bond. You could just be like Tiki, and they're like Tiki, and they're like Tiki.
This is like my kids saying Gen Alpha slang. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking
Tell
about?
your
Yeah.
kids Tiki and see what they say. They probably won't be involved. Tiki
All
is
right.
this rescue dog that has blown up
Oh.
on TikTok. Oh, don't
Oh, is
scowl.
it like the new Mudang?
Tiki is this rescue dog, and
Okay.
I think, what is her name? Isabel, I think is her name.
I'm texting my kid to ask if they know who
Oh,
that is.
Tiki. Do you know who Tiki is? Yes.
Yeah,
It's just like
do
this
you?
terribly like abused dog that she has taken into foster. Like she's really good at fostering animals. And so she's had probably like 8 dogs that she's fostered and has placed them in just incredible homes. And so Tiki is the dog now, and Tiki blew up. Everybody knows Tiki. Everybody's rooting for Tiki. Like they have everybody. We're talking like
Mhm.
the Cleveland Browns, they have a dog mascot. They follow Tiki. Like
Mhm.
so many famous companies and famous people, everybody's following Tiki. And so like you just go Tiki and everybody's like Tiki. So it's just a thing. It's just so sweet. And so it's like, and she just posted a video today, and she's like, a lot of you are saying that I should keep Tiki because like it was such a big growth, emotional growth for Tiki. And she says, but if I keep Tiki, then I can't help all the other dogs. And then she lists
That's
all
true.
those, like there are X amount of animals who get euthanized every year. And
Mhm.
by doing this, if people are so into this, maybe you can get involved and foster a dog of your own, or help foster dogs. And so I'm like, well, that's sort of what we do on my Patreon, is we
Yeah.
find the shelters, we help the dogs and cats and sometimes horses, and so it's that kind of stuff. So that's why I'm like so into this healing. It's like Tiki has healed all of us, I think. And like this whole journey, like my sister and I first saying, everybody in the morning, so many people do
Mhm.
videos of Tiki. Like I woke up this morning and who knew I was going to cry first thing? Or, you're at work
Aw.
and you cry because, it's just so sweet, and you see the progress of Tiki, and it's just
Mhm.
it's so wonderful. Sometimes you just have so much faith in humanity, like the good side of humanity.
I think
And
we
this
all
is one of
need
those
that right
things.
now
We
too.
do. And I think that's why everybody has clung to Tiki, because it is the one good thing that we all can
Mhm.
like come together on.
Yeah.
So
Good.
yeah, Tiki.
Good.
You'll have to watch some Tiki videos.
I will. I'll have to
You
check
will.
her out. Well, see, that's the thing. I'm not on TikTok. I have TikTok on my phone. I
Mhm.
have it so that when people send me links, they
Right.
open
You can
correctly.
open.
Because if you just have it go to the browser, it sucks and sometimes the audio doesn't
Right.
work. But I've held firm. I do not want to get sucked into TikTok because
Mm.
Instagram is enough. It's the only one that's still on my phone. It's the only one that I still like.
Oh.
I don't need
Well, I do football
more.
breaks on TikTok, so
Oh, yeah.
yes, I mean, it's a thing. eBay's now
Mhm,
doing
mhm.
live football breaks now.
What?
Yeah, eBay. So you bid.
Huh.
Right. So
Interesting.
it's they're like eBay's just trying to get all the money they can, because having a gajillion dollars isn't enough.
Well,
Can't blame them.
I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole rant about how growth at all costs is a
Right.
stupid way to
It's
run an
terrible. I know.
economy, but TLDR, growth at all costs is a stupid way to run an economy
Right.
and
Exactly.
leads to bad decisions.
Very bad decisions. Yes.
Something that we did recently that I want to call attention to, speaking of SAS, I learned about it from SAS. So
Yay.
that's the Sapphic Action Support Squad?
Yes.
Question mark? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So if you haven't signed up for the SAS newsletter, make sure you do. If you haven't signed up for the SAS Facebook group, make sure you do. But one of the things that SAS signed on to, and so did we, is Lambda Literary's statement on book bans. I think, it's still kind of a state by state issue, attacking more schools, library systems, that kind of thing. But the threat to queer literature is very real. The threat to literature about Black people and people of other ethnicities is real. And so it was, important to us. So we wanted to sign on to that. So this is just kind of yet another reminder, the reason, wanting to bring that up is if you care about our literature, make sure, buy it, get it from the library. These things all matter. These are the things that publishing companies look at. Tell a friend, give a friend credit to, say, Bold Strokes Books. You can do it. I think you can do gift cards for.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I'm really glad that's true because I said it and then went,
Yep.
But look at
And
our small presses. They should have
right.
gift cards. You should be able to buy books as gifts. Talk about them,
And the
share
more
about them
you
on your
buy, the
social.
more you save.
Well,
Like,
that's
so they
true.
have, if you buy X amount, you get 30%. You buy X amount, you get 40%. So the more you buy, the more you save. I feel like that's somebody's
Yeah.
catchphrase.
And if you are in a state where this is being pushed, don't forget to talk to your representative. That's
Right.
what they're there for.
Ugh.
And that's all we're going to say about politics. But yeah, we signed
Yes.
on to the statement. We love these books.
Yay, we do.
We're going to keep doing this.
Yes.
Now, I know you just said you haven't been reading very much recently
Yep.
because you have been in the writing and the editing place, but what
Yes.
have you been watching lately?
Okay, so The Last of Us. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of upset because there were only like 8 episodes this whole season. Like, by the time this podcast drops, like, we'll be done with the whole season. And I feel like it just started.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little sad about that. Like, that always makes me sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then also Survivor by the time this drops. I mean, the final episode, the finale, I guess, is tomorrow night, which
But there will
is
be a
a
new
week ago.
season in like 3 weeks. So you'll be
Right,
fine.
for sure. Like, I'll be fine. But I'm not like, this kind of was a weird season anyway. I feel like they just kind of want to get it done with because they did everything wrong. The producers, the editors, all that. They just did a terrible job this season and everybody complained. So hopefully the next season will be better. And so I watched some movies too.
Oh,
So,
nice. Okay, tell me more.
okay. So I watched the movie Novocaine, which is
Okay.
about this guy who works at a bank and he can't feel pain.
Okay.
Which you would think is kind of a cool thing. And I remember I watched an episode, it might have been a House or something, where there was this little girl. I think it was Abigail. What's her name? What's her
Oh,
name?
yeah.
I think it was
Breslin.
her.
Uh-huh.
Same thing. Like, she couldn't feel pain. So all the kids used to punch her in the stomach at school. And she made it like a game and they like hurt her and test, all of her
Oh my
internal
God.
stuff. Yeah. And so
Mhm.
she was in the hospital because she was like bleeding internally, but she couldn't feel it, couldn't tell it. So this is kind of the same situation where this guy, like, he doesn't feel pain, he burns himself, he doesn't feel pain, but also he has to set a watch to go to the bathroom because you don't have that. He can't feel
Oh, the
that. He
urge.
can't feel the urge, that kind of a painful urge sometimes, if you like hold it for too long. But then also, can he feel pleasure?
Mm.
It was just kind of it wasn't a great movie or anything, but it was a movie and I watched it.
Okay.
So, and it was free. So I watched it.
Mhm.
But also I watched Death of a Unicorn.
Okay, what's
Like,
that?
what? I know.
Great title.
So it is. Okay, so here's I even copied the little blurby. It says
Mhm.
Death of a Unicorn is a 2025 dark
Okay.
fantasy comedy horror film. Okay, that's a
Okay.
lot.
Uh-huh.
That follows a father and daughter who accidentally kill a unicorn, leading to unexpected and chaotic consequences. It has Paul
Okay.
Rudd, Jenna
Oh,
Ortega, Tia Leone. I think it's how you say her last name, Leone.
yeah.
And it's pretty funny. It's actually very, very funny.
Okay.
And it's dark, but it's funny. So everything that this says, a dark fantasy comedy, horror film, 100%. That's it.
Very interesting.
Yeah, and it was very entertaining. It was pretty gruesome though, but entertaining. So that I actually rented that one. That was on like any of the streaming services. You can rent it, like cable or Amazon Prime or anything like that. You can actually rent it. So so I did
Nice.
that because I was like, you know what? It's like a Saturday night. I want to do something other than like binge a show for 12 hours nonstop.
Yeah.
So yes, I watched a movie. It was, Paul Rudd. Anything he's in is good, and Jenna Ortega, she's
Yeah.
great.
Okay,
So
that's fun.
yeah, it was a fun movie. Would I recommend it? Sure. Was it queer? Not at all, but I liked it. It was
But it had a
entertaining.
unicorn. Unicorn
It
should just
had
automatically be queer.
so there were three unicorns
Mhm.
in this.
All
So
right, that's,
yeah,
I thought there would just be the one from the
nope,
title.
there's three.
Very interesting. Okay,
But
that sounds
only
like fun.
one. It says Death of a Unicorn.
Good.
But is it really? I don't know. You'll have to
Well,
watch it.
I don't know
Find
either
out.
because I haven't seen it, but I'm gonna guess
I'll
there is
have to
some.
tell you. I'll tell you off microphone, off
Yep.
air, off air, off air. That's what it
When
is.
we're not recording.
Right, when we're not recording. So that is what I have been doing. What about you? What have you been watching or reading or doing?
All right. So, as much as I was just saying, ha ha, there will be Survivor in like 3 weeks. Well, guess what's also like that? Drag Race. There's
Yep,
always a drag
I'm gonna
race
say Drag
going on.
Race.
And season 10 of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars has started. And for people that aren't familiar, All Stars is where they bring back people who have been on the show before, typically people who have not won. And so this time they have 18 contestants, which is a lot of them, but they're doing
Wow.
something very cool with the format. It's something they've never done before. They have brackets. And so they split them up into
okay.
sets of 6. So they did 3 episodes with the first 6, and 3 of those queens are going on to the next round. Now this Friday, there's going to be a new set of 6 more. So they're going to get 3 episodes. And then, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Instead of having like all 18 at once, we're going to go like 6, 6, 6, and then we'll have 9 together.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see how that goes. The 2 people that I really wanted to move on did, which made me happy.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it. I've continued reading more of the Hermione Granger, Narcissa Black Malfoy fanfic. I read one that was really fun, very silly, but very fun, called 90 Days to Wed by Yanana. Yanana or Yanana? I don't know. I don't know this person. That's fine. But the concept is they both wake up in Las Vegas in bed together. They have no clothes on and they have rings on. And they're like, fuck, what happened?
Oopsie.
And so it turns out they were all there like celebrating something that, another character basically said, hey, everybody come to Vegas with me. I want to celebrate something. Hermione gets, quite sad. And Narcissa is like, what's the matter? And they get hammered on shots as, as Hermione says, I'm always going to be, right? And it says, I'm always going to be single. And she's like, no, I know everything about marriage. Let's go do it. Let's go get married. But because it's a magical setting, there's this like, they got like this special pureblood magical wedding thing. So that I'm not going to get into explaining all this anyway. So they have 90 days where they either have to bang or they're going to be able to get a divorce.
Okay,
because
so they can't
it's magical.
bang. Okay, got it.
So they can't bang because they want to be able to divorce. But of course, it is a romance. So how is it going to go?
The night before.
It's very cute.
Aww.
I thought it ended really well.
Oh, good.
And then I also read a book that is actually going to be the topic of the next Sapphic World Book Club. So if you haven't been to one of those, you should come hang out with me there because we're going to be talking. Well, I say that we as though I'm a part of it. I'm not. I just attend.
Right. I
have nothing
where
to
were
do
you
with
when I did this? I don't think you were there.
I am not a part. No, I show up sometimes. I went to the last one where we talked about Fiona Zed's latest book, Eve Falls First. But I'm going to go to this one because I've already read the book, and it's Melissa Braden's latest release, Dream a Little Dream, which is a small town, second chance romance. It's set in the same town as Beautiful Dreamer, and I loved Beautiful Dreamer. Yeah. So I was really happy to be able to come back to this setting. You don't have to have read it. It really doesn't matter if you've read it or not. It's a standalone novel. But I did read it, and I loved Dreamer's Bay. So I was like, yay, we're going back. Yes, this is amazing. So Savannah Potter is the main character. She's somebody who, grief has kind of defined her life because when she was, I think she was like 11 or something, when her parents died in a car accident. So her Aunt Lindy raised her, but when the book opens, her Aunt Lindy has recently passed away. It's kind of a lot. Her aunt was her rock. She goes to, and it was around the same time. I'm trying to remember the timing. There are a lot of things that happen in this book. Okay. I'm going to say a lot happens and it's great. And it doesn't matter that I don't remember the specific order of events, but she hasn't had her parents in forever. She loses her aunt. And when she's clearing out things in her aunt's attic, she learns that her father is not her biological father.
Whoa.
Which is kind of like a great big, like, holy shit kind of moment.
Right.
And she has to go. So she goes to Charleston because she's decided she's going to Airbnb her aunt's house. She doesn't want to get rid of it. And she goes and kind of like learns how to do that. But while she's there, she meets this woman, and like the chemistry is just off the charts. Like there's something there. They both know it, but also the woman that she ends up with there is kind of in the last year of her residency for medical school. And so it's kind of like, I can't have a relationship with you this year, but come back and meet me in a year.
Oh.
Like, come back in a year and then we'll do a relationship. This is not just a one night stand. It's going to be great. Fast forward a year and Savannah is stood up.
But
so she stood up and she's angry and she's alone and she's like, fuck relationships and I'm not going to trust people and I'm just going to be grumpy and that's how it's going to be. Even though like everybody loves her, like she's very like thoughtful and lovable and she runs the grocery store and everybody thinks she's the best and she's like, no, fuck love, I'm not doing it. And then Dr. Kyle Remington, that same woman, shows up in town and takes a job at the hospital. And Savannah's like, what the fuck? I decided I was over you. What is happening? And so it's this like,
yes.
Can Savannah decide to forgive her? Can she kind of open herself up to love again? So I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a lot of fun. And yes, I made a big deal about how a lot of things happen in this story, but here is why I love that a lot of things happen in the story, because there are twists and turns and all kinds of stuff. And I think this book should be turned into a nighttime soap opera.
Oh,
it's like, as I was reading it, I was like, oh, this is giving me nighttime soap opera vibes. This is what I need to see. And I love the whole let's meet 1 year later thing.
That's what I was thinking. That's a love or an affair to remember. And then
Sleepless in Seattle.
Right.
Yeah. So I like how it kind of takes that trope and like really turns it on its head, because we know from the blurb that she's not going to show up. Like the blurb flat out says it. And so it's kind of the like, what happens when the big romantic gesture kind of evaporates? And where does it go? So I enjoyed this one. I had a good time with this one.
Nice.
I think, the romance was great. I loved it. They had fantastic chemistry. I believed in them as a couple. But what I think actually made this book really special is the relationship that Savannah has with her best friend, Jonathan. Because I don't think we see, like in lesfic books, it's not that we never see it, but I don't think we often see where the best friend is another man. And in this case, like he's a gay man, he's disabled. And there is something as intense to their friendship as any romantic relationship. There's nothing romantic between them. It's entirely platonic, but like I love that it shows that way that best friends can be like your soulmates too. Like there are just different types of soulmates.
Right.
So I thought it was lovely. I laughed sometimes when I read this. I cried a little at one point. I gasped at some of the there's a lot going on. So if you like small town romances and drama, this is a good one to check out. All right, Kris, what is your official recommendation this week?
Like, I cannot believe that I have not recommended this already. Like, how is this possible? Like you said, I haven't recommended it. And so
that's what a Google search of our website says.
So I am going to recommend the show Younger. Like I watched it when it came out, and then I'm doing a rewatch of it because I like to have it on in the background while I'm doing my own stuff, because I kind of know what's going on. But then I was like, oh my gosh, this could so be a recommendation. So let me tell you a little bit about it. Younger is a comedy drama series that aired from 2015 to 2021, following a 40-year-old woman who pretends to be 26 to revive her career and love life in New York City. She is a mom housewife from New Jersey.
Okay.
So she basically loses everything because her husband's a jerk and he has a gambling problem. And so she loses everything. She has nowhere to go. Her daughter, can't remember if her daughter goes to India for school, like her first year. She takes like a leap, just a year off. I'm not quite sure, but she's out of the picture for a year, for the first year. She's they FaceTime and they like talk. But that's good in a way, because then the main character, who's Liza, she goes and stays with her best friend who lives in Brooklyn, and her breast.
And her breasts go with her too.
Her breasts go with her too, because she can't leave them at home.
No.
So she goes to Brooklyn to live with her best friend, Maggie. There's a lot going on here, so I have to kind of back up a little bit. So I'm going to read you this other little blurb because I don't want to
Okay.
give too much away, but I need everybody to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that younger centers around Liza Miller, that's the character, played by Sutton Foster. Do you know who Sutton Foster is?
Mm-mm. I
Okay,
hear
so
she's the lead of the show.
yes, very good. I actually named my character because the first time I watched this, I was writing Catch. And so I was like,
Mm.
Sutton, that's a really cool first name. So I
Mm-hmm.
named my character her name. So anyway, it's Sutton McCoy is who I named
Yeah, yeah.
my character. Let's see. So younger centers around Liza Miller, played by Sutton Foster, a recently divorced single mother in her 40s. After struggling to find work in the competitive publishing industry, Liza decides to reinvent herself by posing as a 26-year-old. This leads her to a job at a New York-based publishing house, Empirical Press, where she navigates the challenges of her double life while forming friendships with her younger colleagues, including Kelsey Peters, played by Hilary Duff.
Hmm.
So the publishing industry isn't giving Liza a chance. So her best friend Maggie Amato, she suggests that she changes things up. She's like, you look young, you're hot, lie on your resume. Like, who's going to check? It's no big deal. So she does. So she gets this job as an assistant in Empirical Publishing. And she stays with her friend Maggie, who is a lesbian. She is very sex positive. She is very encouraging, very supportive of her friend. Just a really great person. And I'm like, I want to be her friend. Like, she's
Mm-hmm.
just that kind of person. It was funny because just over the weekend, I said, I really loved Hilary Duff's hair, like the way her hair looked in the series. And somebody else said, I really love the way Maggie looks. It's very vintage Barbie. And that's
Mm.
exactly what she looks like. She has the dark hair that's kind of like pulled up, and sometimes the bangs are short and kind of curlish, right here. And really bright blue eyes, like really light blue. So dark hair, light blue eyes. So she really has that vintage Barbie look. That's the best way I can
Mm-hmm.
say it. But I want to be friends with her. She's an artist. She's a contemporary artist. She's successful, and she is the thing I like about her is, like, if a relationship doesn't work, she's like, oh well, it was fun while it lasted. Have fun. Good luck. And she moves on to the next relationship. Very rarely is she petty.
Mm.
The only time she is one time somebody dates her to get, or not dates her, but uses her for a piece of her artwork and then does something to deface it. And so then she has a problem with that person.
Mm-hmm.
But the people she dates, she's just so sweet and just like very supportive. And it's like, well, we can still be friends. And, she ends up being friends with all of her exes, which is great. Because you don't really find that a lot.
No.
No, not at all.
No.
So so in real life, she's like apparently really good friends with Madonna.
What?
Yes. Her real name is
Interesting.
Debbie. I don't have her last name off the top of my head.
Oh, Mazar?
Yes. She and Madonna are good friends.
Interest. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, that's the only reason. As soon as you said Debbie, and I was like, who's named
Yes.
that I've seen photographed
Yes.
with? Oh, she's in it. Okay, that's
Yes.
interesting.
She's in it. She's really good too. I
Yeah.
mean, she's always around. She's always doling out advice to everybody. She's the big sister, the aunt, the mother. She's the person who, like, is always there
Mm-hmm.
for somebody. And she's not always sugarcoating things. She's just telling you like it is. Like, this is how it is. And, even though she convinces Liza that she looks 26, like, no way in this world would I ever
Well, that
think
was as
that
soon as
she's
you said she's
26.
40 and she lies and says she's 26, and I was like, and does anybody believe her?
So everybody believes her. They think like I personally, she looks like she's 33 or so.
Sure.
Like,
Sure.
she's like, the people who know that she's lying about her age are like the people who are giving manicures.
Mm-hmm.
Like this one
That's
person.
it. You look at the hands
Yes,
and you
because
look at the necks.
the neck and the hands give it away every time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's clues throughout the whole entire show. It's like 6 or 7 seasons. And I think I'm on season 6, like second time around.
Nice.
So we have Maggie, who is like just she's an owl, an older, wiser lesbian. Owl. So that's
Aw.
kind of a little acronym that they call her,
Cute.
owl, yeah. And so then there's Lauren, and she's like, she's in the circle, the
Mm-hmm.
friend. She's not like the best friend, but she's friends with the best friend. So
Okay.
still in Liza's circle, and she's bisexual, she's quirky, and I appreciate her character because she's very progressive. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she's the first to push different pronouns, like they, them,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to be, she like scolds everybody, well, you need to be aware of this. And so she's like kind of teaching them, and
Mhm.
teaches Liza, who's, like she's 40 and she doesn't understand how people talk and how they say things and what they're supposed to say and what they're not supposed to say. And Lauren's like, no filter. She tells Liza and everybody, like, you can't say that. You can't do that. What are you doing? She's that person.
Nice.
She's also a hot mess. Like the whole time she's a hot mess, but she has her, it's so, like, she's just so, my anxiety ramps up around her when she's on screen, because she is so out of control. She's controlled chaos, basically, is
Mhm.
what she is.
Mhm.
But she's like, she just kind of goes with the flow, and like just kind of navigates life the best she can. And she's spoiled. She lives with her parents. Her parents are rich. I don't even know if it's a brownstone. Like, it's a really nice place. And so, like, there's a lot of queer up the secondary characters. And here's the one I want to
Mhm.
talk to you about is
Mhm.
Redmond. And Redmond is played by Michael Guri, who is also in Shrinking. So here's what I did. I sent Tara a clip this week
Yes,
where
you did.
Redmond, yes, he's having a chat with Liza, and he's telling her to read romance novels. And she's like, oh, there's really such a thing as Amish, whatever it was, like making out in the
Amish
Amish. Yeah.
romance, yeah.
Romance. Yeah, that's what it was. And he says that she should start with Smart Bitches Trashy Books.
I've
And
heard
I'm
of that
like, what? I was like,
website.
what? So I was like, wait, back up. So I had to listen to it again. And so then I recorded it and I sent it to Tara, just that little snip. Yeah, because like, hello, like that's where
Mhm.
you write. I mean, it was just so cool that it's in this show that I should have picked up on the first time I watched it, but it was also probably before, that was
So,
probably 20, maybe 20 or 19. It might have been before we actually started when he
yeah,
mentioned
so
it.
I think at that point, I'm trying to remember when I joined as an actual staff writer, because I had been submitting guest reviews for a year or two. And I
Mm,
think I joined as a staff writer in 2019 or 2020. So it would have been kind of around that time, probably.
nice. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was so fun. And so I was like, wait a minute, what? So it's so cool. Like, we had a Jeopardy question a while back where it was in our community was the answer. And then so this showed up and I was like, oh my gosh, look at us. We are out there. People
So
do know
fun.
about us. Yeah, super fun. So like Redmond's kind of like the stereotypical gay man. He has a lot of humor to the show, but he also, he has some serious moments, but there's a lot of
Mhm.
humor associated with him. Like I said, this is my second time going through this show, and I love it as much as I did the first time. It has everything I want. It has, New York publishing. How great would it be to either be
Mhm.
a writer or an editor for like a huge, New York City publishing company that has several floors in, downtown Manhattan. And it has queers, it has artists, it has romance, there's age gap, and I absolutely love it. I mean, there's something for everybody in this show, and I recommend it because it is very queer friendly, queer positive. And also something I want to add, this was kind of funny. So as I said, Lauren's trying to teach everybody to say the proper things, use the proper pronouns. And, she's saying, oh, he's, gender queer. And she's trying to figure out what does all this mean? She's like 40 and she's trying to
Mhm.
figure it out. And so somebody exposes her age and says she's 41 because she just had a birthday. So
Mhm.
they were trying to fact check. People are calling around trying to fact check if she's really 41 or not. And so she gets confronted by this, I guess it's like a representative of this book deal that they're trying to get. And she goes, I'm age queer.
Ah!
She's like, I'm age queer. She goes,
Nope.
I'm tired of people saying, like trying to ageism and like you have to be a certain age or you're too old or you're too young to do a job. So I tell people what I want to tell them. I'm 41, I'm 26,
26.
I'm 82, so she's just like, I'm age queer. It
Oh
was
my
cute. And
goodness.
so instead of that story getting released about her lying because she's a part of millennial press because they think she's a millennial. So,
Mm.
but then so this guy finds out, and so he writes this article. And so nobody cares about that. They care about the age queer. Like that takes off. That becomes viral, that phrase,
Cute.
because of Liza. Yeah. So it is a cute series, and I just love it. I recommend it. It's fun,
Good.
it's flirty, it's nothing heavy. It has a little bit for everybody. So that
Mhm.
is
And
my
it's on
official.
streaming.
Yes, so it came back. So I think why it has come around again is because I think Netflix acquired it and now they're showing it. I want to say
Mhm.
it's on the top, whatever, because I'm like, oh, look, younger. I'll just turn that on while I'm writing or whatever. And then I got hooked again.
So good.
Yeah. So anyway, that is my official recommendation. Tara, what is your official recommendation?
Okay, I'm doing something that I usually try not to do. I'm recommending a book that's not out yet, but it will be released, I believe, the week after this episode drops, and you will be able to pre-order it if you are so inclined, dear listeners. So I'm recommending The Woman from the Waves by Rosalind Sinclair. Yes, that's right. It's the same Rosalind Sinclair who wrote my favorite, Truth and Measure, which I
Yes.
have never shut up about, and I
Yeah,
never
girl.
will. I've been hearing about this one for a while because she talked about it at GCLS last year. She
Oh.
was on the panel about, I forget what it was called, but like religion. And there was a panel about like religion in our fiction. So I heard her talk about it there and I was like, okay, huh. I heard some of the basics of it. I was like, what's this going to be? And then I kind of figured, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to read it when it's ready. So it's been almost a year. I've been very patient and I was not
I
let
was gonna say,
down.
have you? Have you?
Listen, I was as patient as I could
You could be. There you go.
be.
That sounds more true.
So Hira is, look up the pronunciation guide again. Hira is an ekushka, which means she is part of an ocean-dwelling horse spirit herd. So you may have heard of kelpies. She is not one of those, and she does not appreciate the comparison. Thank you very much, because kelpies are stupid loners, apparently.
Okay.
Hira's mother and her brother hate her. She has no friends or
Why?
allies. They're just terrible, and it's complicated.
Mm.
I would say read the book. It's more complicated than it makes sense to get into here, but it is really well done. So basically, like, she is lonely. Her dad is dead. Her mom and her brother hate
Oh,
her.
God.
And her dad did love her. They had like a very good relationship, but she doesn't have any friends. She has no allies. There's nobody kind of in the herd that she can trust. And she doesn't want to be a broodmare, which is kind of what happens to all the female ekushkas, because their lives are terrible. Like they're really there just to continue breeding more ekushkas, and it's not always consensual. It doesn't always go easily. The pregnancies last a decade. If you live
Oh
through
my
that,
gosh.
you get to do it all over again and again and again for as
Hmm.
long as you're able. What she wants to do is be the first female storm horse, which is the male ekushkas get to fly in the sky, and her herd, they're the ones that like rain down thunder and lightning like her father did over the Orkney Islands in Scotland.
Hmm.
But to become a storm horse, she has to find a worthy human and drown them and eat them, except for their liver, so she can take their strength into her body. All that gets set up. And then we see Sister Madeline Laurent. Yes, it's a nun, is visiting one of the less well-traveled islands in the Orkneys. It's an island that is completely made up for this book. And she's talking to one of her students one day and is going to kind of go back to join the rest of the group. And she hears her name being called.
Hmm.
And then she kind of goes to investigate, and it happens again that evening. And it leads to this very kind of confusing thing where, like, she thinks she's saving a horse, and then she thinks she drowned the horse. And then she wants to go try to save the horse that she thinks she's drowned, only to nearly drown when she falls over like this little boat she gets in. But she's saved and kissed, frankly, made out with by this naked woman who then
Of
whispers in her
course.
ear, "Return to me." Which, of course, she's like, what the fuck has happened to me? It's this like total, almost out of body situation. Fast forward 6 years, Madeline is not in the convent anymore,
Hmm.
and she's coming back
Oh.
to this island because she wants answers about this guardian angel. Is it an angel or is it a demon
Hmm.
who came back to save her? It's probably not an angel because, the Bible says no homo, and definitely a lady kissed her very homosexually. But like, somebody saved her. What? So she gets there and she meets Hira North, who is the daughter of the man who did save her that night. So Jonathan is the guy who saved her. He was super drunk that night because Jonathan was kind of known as like the drunk on the island. He's sober now.
Okay.
So kind of in the mix of all of that situation, he was like, I need to get right with myself. Like, this is not okay. And, of course, he's the person that Madeline goes back to just to say, like, what happened that night?
Hmm.
And he has this daughter named Hira just so happens to be, who, when Madeline's around her, she has a really hard time ignoring. Like, it's very hard for her not to just keep pushing away that part of her that is a lesbian the way she has kind of for most of her life.
Oh, yeah.
And for Hira, you know, she's had this dream of being a storm horse for so long. And that woman that she had kind of had her eye on in the first place, that she actually saved the life of, is back. And so, like, maybe now it's her chance, that she knows Madeline is worthy, but can she actually, like, as they spend time together, can she actually bring herself to hurt this person who, like, brings up so many feelings?
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
first of all, this is a big book. It's like more than 500
I was gonna
pages.
say, it sounds huge.
It is huge. And I'm glad, because I actually think it needed to be that long to do the characters and the story justice. I don't usually read romantasy. Like, it's just
Mhm.
not. And I mean, I know it's like a big thing right now, especially with, like Sarah J. Maas and Rebecca Yarros, and like everybody around me is reading
Mhm.
it. Not me, but Rosalind Sinclair wrote one. So I was like, well, I'll read
Of
anything you write.
course.
Unless she goes and writes a horror novel, and then I'm
Oh.
really sorry. I'm
I'll read it for
probably
you
not.
then.
Chris will read that one and then
Right, and
tell
I'll tell
me
you. Exactly.
if my tender heart can take
Right. Your
it.
sweet baby little tender heart.
That's
Yes.
right. So, the thing that I find interesting with this one is I really loved the romance. I think it's
Mm.
built very well. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I'm not going to really say much else about it, because for me, even better than the romance was the character arcs. And also, I can't talk about any of the stuff I like about the romance without getting into spoilers. So, we're just going to TLDR it. The romance is awesome.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
we're not spoiling today. But the character arcs, again, I think because the book was so long, it gave enough time to breathe. Like, it didn't feel excessive or anything like that. So for Hira, her arc is really about obsession. She has a singular goal. She is determined to pursue it. And then at the end of the day, she has to decide if it is actually what she wants. Like, she spent decades. So, like, on land, when she's in her human form, people think that she looks like she's about 25.
Okay.
But she's been alive for decades. And I
Hmm.
can't remember exactly how old she is, but she might even be like 100 years or something like that, because they live for hundreds of years. And she spent a long time underwater as a predator. Like, the Akushkas are predators. They are killing others to stay alive. And now that she's on land, she has to really learn how to at least appear human, even though she's still an
Mm.
Akushka on the inside. And so she spends those 6 years between when she meets Madeline and saying, like, I told her to come back. She will come back. I know that she will return. That's how it's going to go. So she uses that time to learn human customs, mannerisms. She learns how to read so she can read the
Oh.
Bible, because she knows that this is a nun
She's a
and that is
nun.
important to her,
Oh.
all because she wants to be prepared to have a really good conversations with her before she kills her and eats her. Like, she feels
That
this
makes sense.
compulsion to talk to her. And even the killing and eating was really, like, that concept was interesting, because it's this idea of, like, but then she'll always be with me because I will have her strength. So it's this idea of,
Right.
like, taking the strength of the human that they kill and putting
Oh.
it within them, and then they will always
It's
be
like
together.
fanatics.
Kind of. Kind of.
Hmm.
Like, it's very interesting, and because it's almost like, because she chose, like, she couldn't even conceive of choosing another human to do this with. It's like, no, this is my person.
Hmm.
And that whole, like, this is my person vibe kind of carries throughout. And I think where it gets very interesting is where she starts considering what are the differences or perhaps similarities between hunger and love, because she didn't really experience much love.
Hmm.
She doesn't know how to love people. She knows what hunger is. Are they two sides of the same coin? Are they different? Like, this real contemplation that I think is so interesting. And then Madeline has her own arc as well, because for her, she's 35 when she first meets Hira on the beach.
Oh.
So she's in her 40s by the time she comes back 6 years later. That's a lot of time that she spent in the church, because she joined after. So she's another one. Like, she's lonely. Her parents died. I think also in a car accident, like also interesting.
Everybody dies in a car accident.
Right. Okay. Can we talk about this? Like this book and Melissa Brayden, there are Jonathans in both of them. Parents die in car accidents. Like what is going on?
Oh, look at that. They're like in sync.
Except they're completely different. The vibes are so different. It would be very hard for the vibes to be more different unless one of these books was like a slasher or something like that. So she kind of like, I think it's in her early 20s because she does go to college, but then she goes and she joins the convent, and that's where she chooses to spend her adulthood. And so it's this question for her arc is like, can she really face who she is and what she actually believes? Like in choosing to leave the church, she's leaving the place where she decided to hide from the world, to hide away from her own fears that she had about herself because she's a Catholic who's attracted to other women. And I really appreciated that, like, yes, it is a character arc, but it's also this really interesting and thoughtful interrogation of the nature and concept of faith itself and what it means to go from a very dogmatic, unquestioning place with your faith to one where you can like listen to that little voice inside yourself, where you can start to kind of like trust yourself and what you know is true. And she starts to even see her doubts as a strength, which I think was huge because it's that ability to say, okay, maybe I don't need the rigidity that comes from Catholic doctrine. And when I was reading it, there was this line that really stood out to me as pivotal when Hira says to her, if we don't doubt or question what we've been told, we don't learn. Haven't you found that's true? I mean, I've talked in the past about having religious trauma. I came from, the kind of evangelicalism where it was interesting. I was talking to my aunt last night, actually, and she said something about she was raised Catholic. She doesn't really believe in organized religion anymore. And she's like, yeah, we were told never to read the Bible because they didn't want us thinking for ourselves. And I said, that's really interesting because in the evangelical church, I was told to read the Bible all the time, but I wasn't allowed to interpret it for myself. You have to believe whatever they tell you in the pulpit. And then I said, imagine how much time I could have saved if I would have just stayed with the Catholics, because at least I wouldn't have had to read that Bible 3 times. I found that like a really interesting, like faith can almost be better with doubt or something like that. It was really cool. Of course, I will say, speaking of religious trauma, because we do see so much through her eyes and we see her really grapple with so much internalized homophobia, there is quite a bit of religious trauma in this book. Madeline's been too afraid to act on her desires for women, and then Hira shows up like a fucking wrecking ball. And I personally, I didn't feel like it was too much to read. I found it very, very interesting. But I think for anybody who has religious trauma specific to Catholicism, this is going to be one of those your mileage may vary things. I would say be very kind to yourself and like maybe try reading it. It's a beautiful book, but if it feels too ouchy, you might want to put it down and walk away. I mean, frankly, I even wonder, did the therapy that I did, because I did quite a bit of therapy specific to religious trauma, did it get me ready for reading something like this?
Oh.
I don't know. It's possible. It's hard to say, but I'm glad it was there. I don't think I've seen something quite like this before. And I think having it in this setting with magical creatures, like it allowed for some really interesting ways, even just like comparing the deities that Hira believes in and how that shows up. And I also liked where the story leaves her relationship with her faith. It felt very real. Felt real to me, and it reminded me of some of what I've heard from friends who also live with religious trauma, because we tend to find each other. The Woman from the Waves, it was really, really excellent. I got to the end and my brain felt itchy, but like in a really good way. Like in that way where I feel like I've only just kind of scratched the surface. This is one I'm definitely going to come back to. I think I need to read it a few times to get to kind of all the different nuances that I want to. I finished this a week and a half ago. I'm still thinking about it. I know one other person who's read it, and I've been talking to them a little bit about it. The other thing that I think is super interesting is, so this book deals with religious trauma specific to Catholicism, but do you know what other book does that? her wife's book, Loser of the Year by Carrie Bird.
Oh, look
And
at
they go at
that.
it from very different ways. Yeah, I just found it very interesting that they both addressed it, but it comes across in very different ways. Like, I cannot imagine two more different characters than Madeline Laurent and Gillian Reed. And yet, I think they both do very good things, and they add to the conversation in a way that we need in our sector of literature. So yes, highly recommend when it comes out, The Woman from the Waves,
Nice.
Rosalind Sinclair. Go pre-order it. You're going to love it. Buy a copy for a friend, because why not? That is all for this episode. Thank you for joining us. As always, if you've enjoyed it, please tell a friend if you think that they need anything that we've recommended. If you haven't subscribed yet, why not? Please subscribe in your podcast app. Or if you want to support us, we have links in our show notes to our coffee where you can buy us a virtual coffee.
Or if you want to connect with us on your favorite social media sites, we have links for that in the show notes as well. Or you can just search for Queerly Recommended, or you can just email us at podcast@queerlyrecommended.com. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Holy shit, we were ungovernable tonight. Her wife's book, Loser of the Year by Carrie Bird.
Oh, look
and they
at
go
that.
at it from very different ways, but I found it so. There's a rabbit crossing the street. My meds were off. Oh my God. It's a good thing we're nearly done. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I just found it very